My name is Sean D'Arcy. I'm one of the fellow board members of the Frank McGuire Foundation. And first of all, I just want to say one or two things. This idea was our good friend Walter O'Hara, who never likes to take credit for anything. But it was Walter's idea to have this golf fountain. So I want to thank you, Walter. I'm thanking God for Walter O'Hara. I'm thanking God for Coach Curran. Thanking God for everybody here. But I'm also thanking God for Joe Moglia, who I'm here to introduce. And it is a great honor to introduce Joe, Bronx native, father of 6, Fordham Prep and Fordham University graduate, as our featured speaker here today. Joe was a high school teacher for 10 years. First as an unpaid assistant as a football coach at Fordham Prep for 3 years, where he served as a board member from 1995 to 2001. Joe spent 4 years at Archmere Academy in Delaware, from 71 to 74 as a poli-sci, eco, and European history professor, while serving as head varsity football and freshman baseball coach. 75 to 78, Joe went on to Penn Crest High School, Media, PA. He was a varsity football and baseball coach, while again teaching economics and European history. In 78, Joe moved over to Lafayette College, serving as secondary coach, recruiting coordinator, and special teams coach. At that time, Lafayette College was Division I football. And then from 91 to 93, Joe was the defensive coordinator at Dartmouth, winning 2 Ivy League championships with the #1 defense in the league in the Eastern Division. Quite impressive. Joe, at a tender age of probably 33, decided to move to Wall Street, starting at Merrill Lynch as an account executive, trainee, and then on to fixed income sales, which in 1987, which is remarkable, was the #1 Merrill Lynch fixed income salesperson in the world. His 15-year career at Merrill Lynch ended with him in charge of all investment products, Merrill Lynch's life insurance company, all 401k business, and all their middle market business. And then in 2001, went on to start at TD Ameritrade. And I love TD, Coach, because it's football terminology. I didn't know whether the TD stood for football or total dominance, but he went on to TD Ameritrade in Omaha, taking them from a market cap of $700 million to $12 billion in 7 years, a 600% return for their shareholders. He's currently chairman of the board, which is a new role he's taken on, which hopefully will allow Joe to continue with his coaching success in these challenging times. And believe me, this last week has been rather challenging. Just so you know, Joe is leader at TD Ameritrade. Got my copy of Barron's this weekend. It's about empowerment of the individual. Joe has helped empowered millions of individual investors to reclaim control of their finances with low cost and efficient strategies to help them preserve capital and build wealth. His best-selling book, Coach Yourself to Financial Success, has helped so many investors improve their financial lives. I humbly introduce to you a great friend of the Frank McGuire Foundation, Joe Moglia. This is for you too, Joe, just so you have it. Print of the coach.
Great, thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, Sean. First, from my perspective, I want to begin, and by the way, I'm well aware that this has been a long day. I'm well aware that you had lunch at 12 o'clock, you teed off at 12:30 or 1 o'clock. I'm aware it's a long day. And I'm not going to keep you that long, I promise that. But for me, this is a major deal, and it's a big honor. And I remember Coach Curran when I was playing and I was coaching. And for a coach to have accomplished what he's accomplished over the 50 years that he's accomplished that, I mean, and it's just an incredible honor for me to be able to come here. And I remember when I was honored to ask to speak at the McGuire Foundation event about 3 or 4 years ago. And when they asked me to speak at this one, I literally wasn't able to make it. And Coach, we never even met till about an hour or so ago. And when they said this is for Jack Curran, I know what the man has accomplished, and we've talked about that already. But so for me, for the McGuire Foundation, and for a guy like Jack Curran, this humbles me to be able to be here. So there are a couple of things that I thought I might share with you as far as this evening goes, and the first is Bruce earlier introduced Frankie McLaughlin, and I went to Fordham Prep, and when I was a freshman, Frank was a senior. He looks a lot older than I do as well, but he was my idol. I mean, he was he was the star of our basketball team, and I loved everything about the Prep at the time. And over the years, when Frank was coaching basketball, and he was at Notre Dame, then he was at Harvard, I was coaching football. I was at Dartmouth and at Lafayette, and we were able to reacquaint ourselves, and we've stayed in touch ever since. And as I got into the business world, which really took place around 1984, Frank would keep reminding me, I knew he was a great athlete, but he'd keep reminding me what a great golfer he was. And one of the things that happened in business over a period of time, I wound up becoming a member of Baltusrol. I live in Omaha, Nebraska now, but I became a member of Baltusrol a while ago. And so Frank's telling me what a great golfer he is, and he loves to play different courses, etc. So eventually, I invited him to play at Baltusrol with a couple of our pros. So he's a pretty good golfer. I'm a lousy golfer, but everybody knows I'm a lousy golfer. And I tell the whole story about Frank and the star that he is, etc. So Frank knows he's going to play with a couple of the pros and Baltusrol, etc., etc., etc. And he comes and he's looking good. He's bought new clubs. He's got new balls. He's got a new outfit. He worked out for 3 weeks ahead of time. He lost 17 pounds. He's stretching prior to go. He's doing all the drills. Remember, he was a coach. He's doing left-handed drills. He's doing right-handed drills. So we get up to the first tee. And the guys with the lower handicap hit first. So the scratch guys go first. And Frankie gets up there and he goes around. It takes about 5 practice swings. And he takes that first swing and he just swings and he drives into the ball. And oh! Kind of goes about 35 yards like over to the left and sort of dribbles over here. And he turns around to the other guys and he goes, "Man, this is a tough course." So when I came in last night, I flew in from Omaha, Nebraska, and Sean had suggested that I stay at the Crown Plaza up in White Plains. So I was staying there, and last night I got in. There is a lot of stuff going on Wall Street right now. There's been like 16-hour days, and I wanted to go down to the bar and just frankly watch the game and have a beer. And somebody said, "Well, this is like a cougar bar." Now, how many of you know what a cougar bar is? Well, for those of you that don't know what a cougar bar is, that's a bar where there are a lot of women there. They're a little bit older, and they're kind of interested in longer-term relationships. So that didn't faze me. I'm going to watch the game. I'm going to have a beer. So I'm sitting at the bar, but there's this woman next to me, and she's not talking to me, but this other guy comes in, and she starts talking to him. And they kind of hit it off, and I'm eavesdropping a little bit, especially during the commercials. And she says to the guy, he said, "Excuse me, but, I've never seen you in here before." And the guy said, "Well, I just moved here." So they have another couple of drinks, and they chat a little bit. And finally she says, "Well, do you mind if I ask you kind of what you've been doing?" And he said, "Well, I've been in jail." I was, "Well, do you mind if I ask what you've been in jail for?" He was, "Well, 20 years ago, I killed my wife. I chopped her up into little bits, and I buried her in the backyard." Now I'm thinking, oh my God, yeah. Yeah. A little time goes by, and she turns around to the guy and says, "So, you're single then?"